So here we are once again, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. I am Mobile Geezer, which you should know if you're on my channel on YouTube. But we do simulcast on two different Facebooks under George Hayes and under Mobile Geezer. So you can see us on any of the three, but we're here every Friday night. We talk about tech news from the last week. And if you're new here, please say something in the comments so I'll know you're here and let me know where you're from. We got a couple of our usuals in here tonight. Brian was first one in, and as his usual generosity, first thing he did was give me a donation. So very grateful, Brian. Thank you very much. And Eleanor was the next one in, and she's wishing everybody a terrific night. So glad you're both here. Anybody else that wants to type something in the comments and let me know you're here, that would be great. Every week I have the show notes on my website, so let me show you that. Go and share screen here. So if you go over to my website, I'll clear some of my brand information out of the way a little bit first. Okay. If you go over to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, if you click on the first date that you see, that'll just give you tonight's show notes. And while we're here, we'll give you a little preview of what we're going to go over tonight. So, first story, I think everybody had this story. Jaime Rivera had it on Pocket Now, so we all grabbed the story. Netflix is getting rid of their basic plan, and I saw a couple of videos about it all. Uh-oh, Will's in here already. Hey, Will.
What's going on, George? I can't read tonight. I wanted to talk about that story. You probably already know the one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand. How you doing?
I'm good. What's the story? The country that Apple's trying to get rid of iMessage and FaceTime and somewhere.
Oh, I didn't have that. I didn't have that story.
You didn't hear about it?
No.
All right. Let me see. Maybe I'll be able to read it off my phone.
All right. Let me finish going through the preview first.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'll get right back to you. All right. So that would be the first story on the show notes, that Netflix is killing their basic plan. And then after that, we'll go over Z Fold 5. Seems like they're going to find a way to put the S Pen in the Z Fold 5. Well, with a case. So we'll go over that. And then one writer at Digital Trends, Joe Maring, who I have a lot of respect for, he thinks everybody should be considering this Nothing Phone 2. Oh, and remember last week I said, let's hope mine comes by today. Well, it's, as far as I can tell, it's in Newark, New Jersey today. And of course, I'm from that area. So it started out in Linden, then it went to Kearney, which is the town where MKBHB studio is, where I used to work there years ago. And it's in Newark. These towns are all like 10 minutes away from each other, but it's taken 3 days to go to those three towns. So I'm hoping by Monday or so, maybe I'll have the phone, but it seems like it left Newark, New Jersey at 8-something this morning. So anyway, we'll talk about why he has such a high opinion of this phone, and I'm getting a high opinion, even though I don't have it in my hands yet. After that, Google is blocking some internet, some of their employees from internet access. So we'll talk about that. And then everybody again has this story. Pocket Now had it. A bunch of people had it. There's rumors that the iPhone 15s, especially the Pros, may be a few weeks late. So we'll see in release. So we'll see. And then there were some YouTube TV bugs that had unskippable ads in people's DVR stuff. So we'll take a look at that story. And then the last story that I found that I thought everybody might not know about is the big TSMC, the biggest chip maker in the world. We know that's a plant to make chips in Phoenix has been around for a while. Well, they've got it started, and I put the picture in here, but it looks like instead of opening next year, it's going to open the year after. So we'll talk about that. So those are the stories we're going to go over. So, Will, I'm glad you're in here. Let me get up to the comments.
Yeah, how you doing? How was your week, George?
My week's been very good, as always. And yours?
It's pretty good, the usual stuff.
Okay. Okay, so now, what is the story you were talking about?
See if I can put it in the chat, the link to it.
Okay.
So look in the chat, George. I just put the link.
Okay. Let's see if I can bring it up. All right, I got it in there. Now let's see if I can. Let's see if I can.
Yeah. What's up, Brian?
Okay, I'm going to share screen. I'm going to go find. Okay, there's the story. I'm going to share that story, and Will, I'll let you take it from there.
All right, let me see. I got to go back to it. Hold on.
Okay, and I'm going to put it in
read
reader view, see if we can get rid of some of these ads. Okay, whenever you're ready. Yeah, I hadn't even heard about this story yet, so I'm glad you brought it up.
All right. Okay. Apple threatens to remove iMessage and FaceTime from the UK over online safety bill. In response to the UK government's proposed online safety bill, the BBC reports that Apple has declared its intention to remove certain services, including FaceTime and iMessage, from the country rather than compromise user security. The bill, which aims to update the Investigatory Powers Act of 2016, seeks to give the Home Office the authority to demand immediate disabling of security features in messaging services without public disclosure.
Wow.
So I think what they're trying to do is make it so that they're not encrypted. They're not.
Yeah, and that's
being there and encrypted.
Yeah, and it says without public, so they want to tell the companies to do this, but they don't want the public to know that they're doing it.
Mm-hmm. But I saw some other article. They were saying so what does that mean for WhatsApp? Because that's supposed to be encrypted too.
Exactly.
One of the key concerns.
End to end. Yep. Good.
Yeah. One of the key concerns raised by the bill is the requirement for messaging services to seek clearance from the Home Office before releasing security updates to customers. Wow. Additionally, the bill proposes measures to force encrypted messaging services to scan for potential child abuse images, arguing that law enforcement faces difficulties due to end-to-end encryption.
So they're going back to the same thing that they were doing here 2 years ago. They're saying, "Oh, we got to do it to protect the children." No, the government just wants to see everything, and they can't see it unless you unencrypt it. And they also, by this paragraph, they're saying they don't even want the companies to update the app without telling them first.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. They want total control here. Go ahead.
Yeah. However, implementing such measures would entail weakening the end-to-end encryption itself, undermining the very purpose of using this technique to protect user privacy. Many messaging services utilize end-to-end encryption, ensuring that only the devices sending and receiving messages can unscramble the content. The UK government has launched an 8-week consultation period for the proposed amendments to the IPA. Apple outlined its objections in 9 pages, including a requirement to inform the Home Office of security changes before release, the global compliance burden for non-UK based companies, and the immediate action mandate upon receiving a demand to disable a feature. The tech giant has asserted that it will not compromise on security for one country, potentially weakening products for all users. It also emphasized that some security changes would necessitate software updates, making secrecy impractical.
Right.
Apple strongly believes that the proposed amendments to the IPA pose a significant threat to data security and information privacy for UK users and people worldwide.
Absolutely.
WhatsApp and Signal have also voiced their opposition to to the online safety bill. Signal is threatening to leave the UK as well if the bill passes.
Good for them. I'm with Apple and WhatsApp and Signal 100% on this one, because this is just the UK government trying to get total control over everything. And the worst part is that they're making it plain. We want to do it sneaky. We don't want the public to even know we're looking at it. So I agree with Apple 100%.
So I'm reading, right? Look at this
Yeah.
thing. If you see the comment, right? The second comment, the
Okay,
guy says, I don't even know where he's at.
But
But
let
he
me
just
get it out of read of view so I can see it. Okay. All right, comments.
See the second comment? Trying to
I'm
understand if he's not understanding the article or I'm not understanding what he's saying.
It's still loading comments here. Wait a minute. Okay. Second comment. Almost nobody will care about this here. WhatsApp is prevalent because it's cross-platform. No, I disagree. I don't know. Like you say, I don't know where he is
I don't
either.
even know where he's at. But this is what I don't understand.
I don't
Did
either.
he
But
not
there are
read
bound to be people who care about their security
it?
other
No,
than him.
listen. I'm saying, did he not read it? Because WhatsApp is basically saying they're not agreeing with it either. So even if WhatsApp is the most widely used app wherever he's at, they're about to do the same thing to WhatsApp. He's making it like it's an iPhone thing. It's not. It's it's all the end-to-end encrypted apps. They're going to do this.
No, I agree. And Signal saying the same thing. I'm sure Telegram is going to say the same thing. So, yeah, that's a pretty dumb comment to make, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously a big government power grab. And, companies like Apple and
is
WhatsApp,
Telegram always end-to-end encrypted, or do you have to do something?
There's been some question about it. When we first started using it, it was supposed to be end-to-end encrypted. Then there's been some stories that maybe in some places it's not. But I'm sure where it's encrypted, it certainly is not going to want to unencrypt it for their law.
And it should.
So that's a good catch on your part, because I totally missed that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me get out of that screen. Good one, Will. All right. I'm going to, if Ted pops in here, I'll try to let you guys know. Let me go back to the comments over here first. Let's see. Brian says, no, I message. He's saying, glad you're keeping me in a loop. Will's keeping you in the loop this time. Hey, Annette, glad to have you here. Glad you could make it as usual. Okay, discussing tech. Too much government oversight where it's not wanted or needed, yet lacking in regulations where it's absolutely, totally agree. That's Don. I recognize his face. Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's just a power grab. That's all that is. Brian says, go UK government. Okay. So we're all in agreement here. We're all in agreement with Apple and WhatsApp and Signal. So that's good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go on to first story I had here, which is kind of a big deal. The funny thing is, I have never watched one, and I've told you guys this before. I have never seen 1 minute of Netflix, but most people have, I guess. So I thought this story was kind of a big deal. So I said, no more basic Netflix plan. This was on Mashable. Everybody had this story. Like I said, Pocket Now talked about it last night. And this was some of their plan features. And you can see if you got the $6.99 plan, this because there's no more basic plan. The basic plan is going away. With the $6.99 plan, you can get it with ads. The basic without ads, that's going away. From there, from $6.99, you can go to a $15.49 standard, and you can have two users on that. On the basic one, you can only have one. And then there's the premium. So let's click on that, and we'll read that story. Netflix removes its $10 basic plan in the US. The only way to get Netflix for $10 or less now is to sign up for the plan that comes with ads. Yeah, because they tested it in Canada first, as far as I know, but I'll check. So let's get it in reader view. Okay. This is by Matt Binder. This is from 2 days ago. We warned you it was coming. Netflix has officially removed its $9.99 basic subscription plan for users in the US and the UK. The US and UK changes were first noticed on Wednesday morning by Cordbusters. As Mashable previously reported, the removal of its lowest price ad-free tier was hinted at last month when Netflix dropped the basic option for its customers in Canada. So Canada was their test case. Much like how it worked with the Canadian rollout, users in the US and UK who are still subscribed to the $9.99 basic plan may continue to do so as long as they don't change their subscription plan or cancel in advance. So if you have it now, hold on to it. The plan provided users with all of the ad-free benefits of a Netflix subscription. However, the account was limited to watching on just one device at a time, so no more multiple devices. New users will now have the option to either fork over $7 for the ad-supported plan or $15.49 for a Netflix standard subscription, which is what you got before with the 10, I guess, which adds one extra device to the account for simultaneous viewing. So with that, you can have two devices. The plan also allows users to share their account with one individual outside of the account holder's household. So you can add one other people outside of your household. Netflix often tests out new features and subscription changes in limited markets before rolling them out more broadly. For example, before Netflix cracked down on password sharing and started charging all users to add members to their account who lived outside their household, they first tested the option months earlier in countries like Chile, Peru, and Costa Rica. And Jaime Rivera did say on Pocket Now in his report that they've become very profitable in all the areas, even after cracking down on this sharing. So I guess they proved themselves to be right, that they're not losing money. They're gaining subscribers. So even though people didn't like the idea of it coming, people are still subscribing. So I thought that was kind of an important story to get out there. Let me stop screen and go back to the comments. Don said the UK should just build their own phones at this point. Good point, Don. That's a very good point. Hey, Louis, glad to have you here, brother. So he's saying that means you're going to be a grandfather. You're going to be grandfathered in as long as you don't change anything. That's right. You're going to be grandfathered in unless you change one thing. You change one thing, you are no longer grandfathered in. Then you'll have to pay $15.49 to have the exact same service. So, okie dokie. Let's see. That's all the comments we have so far.
George,
yes, sir.
YouTube Premium. I think the price went up too.
The price goes up on YouTube. Oh, YouTube Premium.
Yeah,
I didn't know the price went up. Yeah, I canceled my premium about 6 months ago. But yeah, so I don't really pay much attention to it. They're always advertising, trying to get me to come back, but I'm not going. I'll just watch the ads. I don't care. So how much is it going up to?
I don't remember, but I know I've seen it. I've seen it went up. It's hard for me. I can't do it.
I thought that was Don. That's formerly Michael Peppertech. Okay, Michael. Sorry about that.
I can't do the ads. I can't do it.
I can just deal with the ads. I don't worry about it. I see the same ads all the time, but I'm just not paying them. And it was nice while I had the premium about, I don't know, I guess about 10, 11 months, but I just decided I'm just not paying that every month.
Yeah,
so, and you know how I am with monthly charges. I don't like monthly charges, and I avoid. That's why I've never seen Netflix for 1 minute. So when it comes to monthly charges, I'm just flat out cheap, and if I can avoid paying them, I'm not paying them. So if I have to watch commercials, then I'll watch commercials. So, we ready for the next story? You ready to take on the next story?
Oh, hold on. You got to put it in the thing, George, because I'm on the phone. Can you put it in the
Okay.
chat?
Oh,
So I can
all right,
grab
let
it.
me go see if I can copy it. All right, got it. Put in private chat. Okay, you should have it. You should have the show notes.
Yeah,
now.
I'm opening it right now.
Okay.
So the next one is which one?
Next one is going to
Okay.
be
Z Fold.
Z Fold 5 with the S Pen. Yes. I'm clicking on it now. Yeah, this is nice for people who are going to get the Z Fold 5, which I'm not, but I finally did realize I did go click the pre-order thing to save money because I probably am going to get the Watch 6. I'm probably going to trade in my Watch 5 for the Watch 6. So, okay, whenever you're ready.
All right. Galaxy Z Fold 5 leak surprises us with phone case that holds an S Pen. We're only a week away from Samsung's Unpacked event, and we've already seen several leaks ahead of the showcase.
Okay.
While the most recent leak seems to simply give us another look at the Galaxy Z Fold 5 and Flip 5, there's something new in these images that should excite fans. On Wednesday, Ishan
Agarwal, I think.
Took to the new Meta social platform Threads to share leaked, official-looking marketing images of the Galaxy Z Fold 5 and the Galaxy Z Flip 5. As with previous leaks, we get a good look at the design of the handsets. More importantly, however, one of the images shows the Fold 5 in a phone case, and not just any phone case, but a phone case that appears to hold an S Pen.
And they gave us a nice picture of that right here, so that's great.
It was rumored that the Galaxy Z Fold 5 would get an S Pen as far back as late last year. However, speculation was shot down after reports suggested that the phone would not get an S Pen slot. The reason being that Samsung wanted to make the Galaxy Z Fold 5 thinner, and an S Pen slot would prevent that. But it looks like the South Korean tech giant found an alternative solution. The inclusion of an S Pen for the Galaxy Z Fold 5 may not be as important of an improvement as, say, the new water drop hinge or the reduced gap, but it is an important enough change that addresses the shortcomings of the Fold 4 and could be the difference maker that gets people to buy.
Yeah, I agree, because you always see, especially among the techies, you always see people that wish that the Folds had an S Pen built in. Well, now if you get that case, I guess you will. So I think that's a very good thing.
So you think that'll lead?
Surprise.
Do you think that'll lead to more people breaking their screen, like having screen issues?
No, I don't. Why would you think it would? I mean,
I don't know. Is this the first time they've had an S Pen on the Fold?
On the Fold, yes, they've never included one with the Fold before. Now,
but has
looking at
a
this
pen
picture
ever
with this
worked
case,
on
it looks like if you close it, it's not going to crack anything. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your question.
No, I said, has a pen ever? I mean, has a pen ever worked? Like, have you ever been able to use a pen with the Fold?
As far as I know, yeah, the last 2 or 3 versions you could use a pen. Anybody in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm aware, I believe you could use the S Pen on the last 2 or 3 versions. Now, of course, I haven't had a Fold, so I don't know for sure. I have the S23 with the pen, but of course that's not a Fold. But as far as my memory, I think you could use the S Pen with the 4 or the 3. At least that's what my mind is telling.
Okay.
Anybody correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know. I just know, like, everybody always says the screen is fragile.
Oh, okay.
So figure people pushing on the screen with
all right. So Michael is saying with the Fold 4, yes. So you could use it with the Fold 4, which is okay. So, but yeah, that's right. Because when it came out, people were complaining, well, why didn't they build it in? But obviously they want to make it thinner. So I think they've come up with a very valid solution here, and I think people will be happy with it. Lewis says, yes, you can use the S Pen on the Fold they sell one. Yeah, that's right. I did see somewhere that they would sell it. You just had no particular place to put it. Well, now you do, as long as you get this case. So I think people should be pleased about that. Okay, going to the next story. And the stories are not long today. I think maybe the next one might be a little bit longer, but most of them aren't. But since everybody already knows that I have my Nothing Phone 2 on the way already. Let's see, did I get the... Okay. The next story, I'm going to close that. In the next story, I just called it Some Praise for the Nothing Phone 2. It's from Digital Trends. It's from Joe Maring, who I've told you guys before. I have a lot of respect for this guy. I guess Joe's in his mid to late 20s. I've been following him since he was in mid-high school. So this guy's been a good writer for quite a long time now. So I was surprised to see this article, but he writes some very nice things in here about the Nothing Phone 2, which I agree with. He also gives you, the downsides, but he has a lot of praise for it. So I wanted to get this in here. And hopefully it'll be in my hands in a few days. So this was on Digital Trends. 4 reasons you should absolutely buy this $599 Android phone by Joe Maring. I totally agree with him.
Yeah, he's nice.
And this is from 2 days ago. And I think he gives all the good arguments here, even though he tells you the downsides of why this phone is worth it. And I think it's worth every cent. Okay, the Nothing Phone 2 is here. It's the second Android phone from Nothing, the company's first one to fully launch in the US and one of the most important smartphones of the year. I agree. There's plenty to say about the Nothing Phone 2. I could talk about the importance of a new smartphone brand entering the US market. I could also talk about the glyph lights on the back of the phone that have been hyped so much. There's also a lot to discuss about Nothing's mission to make tech fun again. But I don't want to say any of that. Instead, I want to talk about the Nothing Phone 2 in a much simpler matter. This is a $599 Android phone that I've been using for over 2 weeks. It's not perfect, but shockingly great. I love that phrase. In so many ways I wasn't expecting. Now keep in mind, this guy gets like every phone that comes along practically, so he knows what he's talking about. If you're ready for a new smartphone, here are 4 reasons why the Nothing Phone 2 should be on your short list. The design is really something. I adored the design of the Nothing Phone 2 for a few different reasons. Of course, we have to talk about the transparent backside with the glyph lights. The lights are more functional than they were on the Nothing Phone 1. You can use them for visual timers, to see your current volume level, and even keep an eye on how close your Uber is. These are all neat additions to the Nothing Phone 2, but my favorite part about the glyph lights has nothing to do with their new feature set. I simply treasure how they make the Nothing Phone 2 look, and that's honesty. And Flossie is the same way, and we know Flossie likes flashy stuff. He likes his flip phones just because he can flip it. And Flossie loves the glyph lights on the new one, too. I think he loved them on the first one, too. Take a look around at some of the biggest smartphones available today, be it the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, which I did not bring tonight because I came here straight from work, the iPhone 14 Pro, or anything else. Most smartphones look boring. Other than differently shaped camera housings or new colors, there's not much design flair happening in the smartphone world. However, the Nothing Phone 2 didn't get that memo. This is one of the few phones I cherish looking at. That's really a nice thing to say. The transparent glass on the back shows all of the neatly packed components that make the Nothing Phone 2 tick. The wireless charging coil is front and center, which you can see right there. There are countless lines and textures everywhere you look. The layout of the glyph lights adds real visual interest, even when they aren't doing anything. I typically don't care that much about how my phone looks, but the Nothing Phone 2 has given me a renewed appreciation for legitimately good design. And it's a phone I've been proud to carry with me everywhere I go. That's a really great thing to say. Bet your Carl Pay loves this article. But beyond its excellent aesthetics, I've also been impressed with the fit and finish of the Nothing Phone 2's hardware. Nothing didn't just make a good-looking phone, it also made a really well-built phone. I'm glad to hear him say that because you don't hear many people talk about that much. The subtle curves around the back glass allowed a Nothing Phone 2 to comfortably nestle into your hand. Everybody agrees on that. The little curve on the back that wasn't on one, say this makes it feel much more comfortable. Where the Nothing Phone 1 had sharp edges that could get quite uncomfortable at times, the Nothing Phone 2 feels like it was meant to be held. Similarly, despite being just 2 millimeters shorter than the iPhone 14 Pro Max, I'll be comparing that soon, the Nothing Phone 2 is over 40 grams lighter. That's great. It's a big phone, but it's one that I actually enjoy holding for long stretches at a time. Something I can't say about Apple's flagship phone. Apple's it's right here. It is a little bit on the heavy side, and it gets heavy very quick. So I understand what he's saying. Nothing didn't just make a good-looking phone. It also made a really well-built phone. When you combine all of that with a good vibration motor, I've heard other people praise the vibration motor too. Excellent buttons and a reliable in-screen fingerprint sensor, you start to realize that the Nothing Phone 2's design is close to perfect. And that's because it is. That's really great. All of the specs are fantastic. A gadget like the Nothing Phone 2 is a tricky one to pull off. Nothing could have stopped with the flashy design and called it a day, opting for mediocre specs that are okay, but nothing special, sort of like it did for Nothing Phone 1. But the company made some really meaningful spec upgrades for the Nothing Phone 2, and it shows. I love this. I thought I heard. Oh, well, you've been out and back in. Okay. A big highlight is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset that powers the phone. Although it's not the newest mobile chip in Qualcomm's portfolio, it remains one of the best performance on the Nothing Phone 2 is, in a word, excellent. No matter what apps or games you throw the phone's way, even back-to-back matches of Call of Duty, that's mobile, that's good to know. It holds up like a champ. It runs smoothly, confidently, and without getting too hot under pressure. Me, I pretty much only game I play is Asphalt 9, but it's good to know. If it holds Call of Duty mobile, it'll certainly do Asphalt 9 nicely. Similarly, battery life has been a complete non-issue during my entire time with the Nothing Phone 2. If I'm doing a lot of gaming, constantly listening to podcasts throughout the day, and watching more YouTube TV than I should, it's not uncommon to hit below 10% battery around 11 p.m. That's not bad, 11 p.m. with that much use. But with more moderate use, the Nothing Phone 2 easily lasts for a day and a half per charge. It's great, and I've heard other people say that too. And when it does come time to refuel, I've been quite pleased with the options at my disposal. When I use my trusty Anker charger, the 45-watt max charging of the Nothing Phone gets me to a full battery in just under an hour. And if I'm not in as much of a hurry, I love having the option to throw it on a wireless charging pad too. Of course, it's much slower. Nothing had so many chances to cut little corners, be it a less capable chipset, a smaller battery, or a less robust charging option, but it didn't. And that really shows in day-to-day use with the smartphone. That's great. Camera is shockingly good. Yeah, now he's pretty honest about the camera. I went into the Nothing Phone 2 not knowing what to expect from its camera system. It's a $600 smartphone whose main focus is on offering flashy lights on the back. Surely the camera would be a second thought, right? Apparently not. To be clear, the Nothing Phone 2 doesn't have the very best camera system you can get on a smartphone in 2023, really. The Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra offers much better zooming capability. In my opinion, it's the best camera there is right now. S23 Ultra, I mean. The Google Pixel 6 Pro is better suited for low-light photography, and the OnePlus 11 delivers a slightly more capable setup for not much more money. But after using the Nothing Phone 2 as my main photography tool for over 2 weeks, I've come away really pleased with the result. Now, here's where it gets real honest. I think what's impressed me most with the Nothing Phone 2 is just how reliable it is. I can take the phone out of my pocket, open the camera app, snap a quick photo, and feel quite confident that I'll be happy with what it looks like. Whether I'm taking a picture of my dog while out on a walk, a yummy dessert doing a local ice cream social, or a nice IPA in a beer garden to wind down a relaxing Saturday, the Nothing Phone 2 continues to produce photos that I'm consistently happy with. I haven't pixel peeped or deeply analyzed any of the pictures I've taken with the Nothing Phone 2. But when I look back through my gallery of all the photos I've snapped, I'm finding very little to complain about. Do I wish there was a telephoto camera to offer more than 2 times zoom? Yes. Do I wish I could take better nighttime photos? Sure. But for a phone of this caliber where great camera quality isn't necessarily a given, the Nothing Phone 2 punches it way above its class. That's pretty honest, I think. It's a joy to use. The Nothing Phone 2 ships with Nothing's custom fork of Android 13, dubbed Nothing OS 2.0. Nothing OS is quite similar to the clean Android experience you'll find on a Google Pixel or a Motorola Spotlight. That's what I said last week. It's kind of like Motorola, though with a few interesting add-ons from Nothing. You can add select widgets to your lock screen, turn quick settings toggles into home screen widgets. I think that's kind of cool. Change the size and appearance of app folders, and use third-party icon packs with the default launcher, which I think is also kind of cool. Just to name a few of the highlights. There's a lot of extra utility to Nothing OS, but Nothing presents it all in a way that doesn't feel overburdening or overwhelming. You can use Nothing OS with traditional app icons, but there's also a monochrome option. Yes, some people's eyes have trouble with that monochrome. I don't think mine will. That paints all of your app icons in a subdued black and white color scheme. I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about it, especially because it makes some apps more difficult to identify from your home screen or app drawer. And other people have said the same thing. When they're all black and white, they sometimes hard to separate them with your eyes. But it also looks clean, stylish, and unlike any other Android home screen on the market today. So it just makes it look different. The monochrome icons combined with Nothing's own set of custom widgets have inspired me to play with my home screen setup in a way that I haven't felt compelled to do in years. It's fun, and that's the key, I think, charming, and something I think a lot of people will get a kick out of. The best part, Nothing offers all of this while keeping Nothing OS 2.0 blistering fast. The software is smooth, easy to navigate, and never feels weighed down or too heavy. It's a perfect mix of everything. That's a nice thing to say. And it's made Nothing OS 2.0 a contender for one of my favorite Android experiences available in 2023. And that's good. Yeah, considering the fact that he has the 23 Ultra, that's pretty good. And now here he's telling you should absolutely buy the Nothing Phone 2. What does all of this mean for you? It's like the subhead above suggests. You should buy the Nothing Phone 2. There are so many good phones to choose from right now. No matter your budget or what features you're looking for, it's more difficult than ever to buy a truly terrible smartphone. And that makes it all the more impressive that Nothing Phone 2 is able to stand out as well as it does. How does it do that? For all the reasons mentioned above. Here's a phone with a killer design that looks and feels outstanding. It has a fantastic processor that delivers great performance and reliable battery life. You're getting a camera system that's a lot of fun to shoot with. And if you're aficionado of good software, Nothing OS 2.0 impresses. These are all qualities I'd be thrilled to have on a $1,000 flagship. So the fact that you're getting these on the phone that costs $600 is all the more impressive. The Nothing Phone 2 should be your next smartphone, but he's absolute about that. There are serious questions about the Nothing Phone 2. Now, he's still realistic, that still need to be answered. How quickly will Nothing deliver software updates? Yeah, none of us know. How will the company's customer support team perform when you need after-sales support? Yeah, I don't know. Will warranty claims be easy to process? There's uncertainty that comes with any new company, especially one in the tech space like Nothing. But my 2 weeks with the Nothing Phone 2 have been bliss. And if you have $600 and you're in the market for a new phone, I can't recommend it enough. The Nothing Phone 2 should be your next smartphone. So that's a great article. And obviously, this guy who gets like all the phones there is practically is very impressed. And I just thought that was a terrific article, especially for me who's got the phone on the way. So, and looks like Will is gone already. Okay. Guess I made the article too long. I don't know. All right, stop screen. Let me go back. Okay. And here's Don. Okay, Don, I was confusing somebody else but you earlier. I'm glad you're here. Brian says, Apple made for superheroes and supervillains. The weak don't apply. Okay. If Nothing Phone 2 camera punches above its weight, the Pixel 7 is George Foreman. And that's probably true. For me, the Galaxy S23 Ultra is the best camera out there right now by far, ever since I've gotten it. And that, for me, it beats my Pixel 7. I don't have the Pro, and it also beats my iPhone 14 Pro Max. So, what else Brian said? Lock screen widgets on Nothing Phone 2. Yes, I gather you can change the widgets around in ways that you can't do with other phones. So I'll be great when I have my hands on it. I'm thinking I should have it in my hands by beginning of next week. So hopefully it'll show up soon. So that article made me a little more excited about it. I don't know if Will is going to come back, but I'm glad he was here, and I'm glad he gave us that one story. But if he comes back, I'll let you know. And if Ted comes in here, I'll let you know, because I haven't heard anything from Ted this week. So, go on to the next story. Share screen again. Okay. Back over here. Okay. So, there's a Google story. Google blocking employee internet access. This was on ZDNet, and I've seen a story in a few other places too. But I pulled it from ZDNet. So, Google is cutting off internet access for some employees. Here's why. Could you get your work done without the internet? Every time I see that question, my answer is no. Okay, let's put this in reader view. Has your job ever restricted your work computer's access to specific websites? Not in my case, but I was a programmer, so I couldn't. Perhaps your company blocks certain websites because they aren't conducive to productivity. I've heard of companies that do that, or visiting those websites is inappropriate at work. And I've heard of companies that watch that a lot too. Well, Google restricted some of its employees from accessing the internet unless, of course, the site is owned by Google. The company says the pilot program is an experiment to measure how well restricting employees' internet access protects the company from cyber attacks. That's a smart move, in my opinion, or at least a good test. CNBC reported that Google selected over 2,500 employees to participate in the experiment, but after some pushback, the company opened the experiment to volunteers and allowed employees to decline to participate. Good for them. Google will provide participants with desktops that cannot connect to the internet and can only access internal web tools, Google Search, Google Drive, and Gmail. These computers will also be devoid of administrative commands. Wow, they're really making sure. Disconnecting employees from the internet decreases the likelihood of hackers running malicious code. Google also plans to release more AI tools to use internally and externally, potentially increasing the likelihood of data breaches and privacy risks. And I can tell you, in my years of programming, the fact that they took away the administrative commands also is a good idea because there were times when I was programming, we didn't have certain pieces of software to access something, but you could always go to the command line and figure out how to get it. So that was smart on their part. Ensuring the safety of our products and users is one of our top priorities, Google said in an email. We routinely explore ways to strengthen our internal systems against malicious attacks. AI tools collect, store, and process large amounts of data, that's for sure, creating many vulnerabilities for companies and their users. Google is also seeking more government contracts. I bet you some of their employees aren't crazy about that. And significant data leaks could compromise national security. Well, that's probably true. Google has not experienced a significant data breach since 2018, when an API bug update exposed 52 million Google Plus users' data. But foreign espionage hackers are getting more sophisticated, as Microsoft recently announced that Chinese intelligence infiltrated email accounts belonging to U.S. government agencies. Over the years, Google has ramped up efforts to protect itself and its users from DDoS attacks. Notably, in 2022, Google identified and subsequently prevented the largest layer 7 DDoS attacks to date. The DDoS attacks, they will stop some of your software from working the way you want it to. So I guess what they're doing is probably a good thing, and it's good that they're testing it with their employees and that they allowed the employees to volunteer for it instead. So I think it's all good. So let's see what we have in the comments. And Brian's telling me, okay, when I get it, compare Nothing Phone 2 camera to Pixel 7. Now, you know I'm going to do that. I will absolutely do that, Brian. Okay. Oh, yeah, tonight when I leave here, it should be dark. So since I have the Razr with me, I will do a quick video test from the car for the Razrs, just so you guys can see it. So just wanted you to be aware of that. Let's see. So next story. Back to sharing screen. It's going to be somewhat an early night, I guess, but I'm glad Will got in here, though. Right, share screen again. On to the next story. Okay. And I just said delayed iPhone 15 release date. Again, this Jaime Rivera had this on Pocket Now, a bunch of stories written about this. I just took this one from Tom's Guide. So iPhone 15 release date could be delayed until October, and this may be the reason. The new iPhones could be held up by a few weeks, according to new analysis. The funny thing was, when I was listening to Jaime Rivera on Pocket Now, he kind of hinted that nobody knew the reason why, but I think in here it says it might be screen-related stuff, but we'll see. So let's go to read a view, get rid of some of these ads. Okay. This was by Richard Priday. It's from yesterday. Brace yourself for possibly late iPhone 15 release date, says Wamsi Mohan, analyst for Bank of America, a new research note read by Barron's. Mohan is claiming his sources are suggesting the next-gen iPhones will be held up by a few weeks. That could perhaps mean Apple will go for an October launch event rather than its habitual September event. But it could still hold even in September. It could still hold the event, I should say, event in September, and just put the phones on sale a bit later than usual. This is the third time I've read the story, and I keep missing the fact that that should say event. And we've seen a couple of phones be a little bit late before, and they mentioned that here. This news goes against what other analysts and leakers have suggested. Perhaps this will change as others observe the same facts that have led Mohan to his conclusion. though the Barron's article doesn't tell us what those are. Update, a new report may have explained that its issues, there it is, with the iPhone 15 Pro's display that have caused these problems. So I guess initially nobody knew, but it seems like it's the display with the iPhone 15 Pros. Tom's Guide took a trip, let's see. No, wrong place. Okay. iPhones have been delayed before, such as with iPhone 10 in 2017, iPhone 12 series in 2020. I remember that because I had both of those. Or the iPhone 14 Plus last year, but it's generally a rare occurrence. That's right, because when I got my Pro Max, the Pluses were still being delayed. A release date, slight delay, but not a big deal. I agree. Mohan comes at this news from an investor's perspective, with a delay to Apple's biggest product of the year, meaning significant changes for Apple's quarterly earnings, and therefore what's best for users looking to buy or sell the company's shares. Yeah, so for people who are looking for shares, this could be a big deal. But for we typical iPhone buyers, this shouldn't make too big of a difference to your buying decision. I agree. The iPhone 15 series as a whole is expected to gain USB-C charging ports and use the dynamic island notch replacement universally. So they all have dynamic island. As for the iPhone 15 Pro models, we're hearing they could use a new 3-nanometer A17 chipset, and a more powerful periscope zoom camera could be coming exclusively to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I hope they don't make me buy that phone. It's likely worth holding off on buying an iPhone 14 or iPhone 14 Pro right now to get a model with these new features, even if you've got to wait a few more weeks than you may have expected. I totally agree. So just want everybody to be aware that there's a possibility, and I guess at this point that's all it is. It's a possibility that it could be leaked. So stop screen. Okay, nothing new in the comments, so I will go back to presenting the screen, and we'll go back to the stories. And I guess because Will has to work all weekend, and when we say Will works all weekend, he works like 30-some hours straight through when he goes to work on Saturday. So sometimes he just needs to go get his rest. All right, so next story. And this was, and I'm a big YouTube TV guy, in case anybody doesn't know that. But new unskippable ads bug in YouTube TV. The funny thing is, this week I haven't had time. Like, I follow the Tour de France. Most of you already know that, for 3 weeks, which is it's going to be over on Sunday. But I usually DVR it and I go back and look at it. I haven't had time this week, so I might have seen this bug, but I haven't had time to even look at the stuff. I've just been looking at the highlights on YouTube. So let's go into Tom's Guide again. YouTube TV is investigating unskippable ads bug, what we know. YouTube TV is aware of its latest DVR flaw. Well, that's good. So, read a view. And this was by Henry T. Casey, and this was also yesterday. We at Tom's Guide love YouTube TV, so do I. But even one of the best cable TV alternatives can have irritating bugs. Its latest frustration practically ruins the whole concept of a DVR2. Yeah, I can see where this would be very aggravating. The error, as reported by Redditor SeanO.com, breaks your ability to fast forward or rewind past ads in programs you record on YouTube TV. And that's aggravating. The user's problem is actually worse than the above might make it sound. Writing was trying to rewind and cue up the Phillies leadoff Schwarbaum in this evening after a few innings had passed, and couldn't even watch it as it had been permanently overwritten. That's really aggravating by Safelite Plus Great Wolf Lodge ads. So I gather when it overwrites at this time, you not only can you not go back and look at it, they're overwritten and they're gone. Shono.com repeatedly tried to break through this digital wall 3 or 4 times at slightly different markers, and each time one of the above ad info personalized ads insisted on playing over the first minute of the game. That's really aggravating. 5 other users in this same Reddit post claimed to have experienced the same bug. One noted that they're using Apple TV 4K, but no other users noted their hardware. So my guess is the hardware probably doesn't matter. What good is a DVR, you might wonder, if it's replacing parts of your recording with ads? Well, the good news, at least for those who haven't had their recordings eaten up, is that YouTube TV team is on it. The official YouTube account replied saying, "Thanks for flagging. I've already shared the reports about the unskippable ads on recorded shows with the engineering team, and they're already looking into the issue. We'll circle back once we have an update." I haven't seen an update about this. In a follow-up reply, which basically felt like a part of customer service phone call, we're all witnessing Team YouTube asked for more details. So they came back at least and asked. Specifically, they needed the airing date and a screenshot of the stats for Nerds window. The rep said, "I'll make sure to pass it along to help with the investigation." Open customer support is a welcome sight. While we hate to see bugs like this, they're not as rare as we wish they were. Yours truly even noticed in a Hulu Plus live TV recording, this past week. Didn't know they had that issue either. So while I would rather see nobody reporting bugs like this, I do have to give YouTube TV some credit. The live TV service had used its Reddit page as a great place to engage the public on topics like this. That's good. YouTube TV needs to fix and avoid bugs like this overall, especially after its recent $8 per month price increase. But at least users can feel like there's some transparency. Sometimes it's even better than just optics, as YouTube TV recently responded to complaints by reversing course on its interface changes. Good. So, like I said, I haven't seen the issue. My guess is if I had time to go back and look at my recordings, which I record every day, but I haven't had the time yet. So I'm hoping it's fixed by the time I do look at it. So I just want to make everybody aware of that the issue is out there. All right, I've got one more story left. And this has to do with TSMC. And for those who don't know, TSMC is by far the biggest chip maker in the world. I mean, I think they make like 75% of all the chips on Earth. And they're in Taiwan. But they've been building a factory, which you can see in the picture here, in Phoenix for over a year now. So let's go take a look at it. And this was on The Verge. Didn't think I'd get through a week without The Verge. Okay. TSMC delays Arizona factory that will eventually build chips for iPhones and AI. The company is sending Taiwanese technicians to train U.S. workers at the new Phoenix-based production plant. So, into review. And this, and I didn't see who wrote this. Let's see if I can see who wrote this. By Jess Weatherbed. Okay. I have to give the guy a little credit. The world's biggest chip maker is pushing back the start of 4-nanometer chip production at its new facility in Phoenix, Arizona to 2025, which was originally next year, blaming labor shortages. Apple has said that it intends to eventually source chips for its iPhones and MacBook models from the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, TSMC, plant in the U.S., while NVIDIA and AMD have also committed to using its production capacity. The chip maker's first Phoenix-based fab, which began construction in 2021, so it's the year before last they started, was originally projected to start producing 4-nanometer chips next year. A second fab that will produce smaller, more complex 3-nanometer chips, that's heavy duty, is scheduled to open in 2026. During the company's Q2 earnings call on Thursday, TSMC Chairman Mark Liu said that the company was encountering certain challenges as there is an insufficient amount of skilled workers. That's the trouble, skilled workers. And I've seen other stories about, there's a guy I follow who does a lot of stories about chip making companies, and he said it's always trying to find the skilled workers. With the specialized expertise required for equipment installation in a semiconductor grade facility in the U.S. TSMC is sending a task force of experienced technicians from Taiwan to the U.S. to make up for lost time. That's good. Liu added that TSMC is planning to temporarily send technicians from Taiwan to train local workers at the new Arizona production plant. Nikkei Asia reported last month on a task force of more than 500 experienced workers, that's great, on the way to help set up specialized equipment, while also quoting an analyst who said the slow progress is due to weaker market demand for TSMC's chip production. The chip maker's Q2 earnings report showed revenue, and I'll just do the dollar version, $15.4 billion, down 10% in profits, $5.8 billion, down 23% from the same period last year, as its CEO, Che Chia-wei, projected a 10% revenue drop for the full year amid falling demand for consumer electronics. Didn't see that coming. Higher inflation and interest rates, that's I can see when higher inflation would affect it. Impact and demand in all market segments. That makes sense. In every region in the world, said Wei. While we have recently observed an increase in AI-related demand, it's not enough to offset the overall cyclicality of our business. Never used that word before. TSMC expects the capacity shortage caused by high demand for AI-capable chips will persist until next year. Well, that's good for them, I guess, because at least that's more demand. The explosive popularity of generative artificial intelligence models like OpenAI's ChatGPT over the last year has resulted in increased demand for advanced chips required to run them. TSMC acknowledged that this has resulted in a capacity shortage as it struggles to fulfill orders, but Wei remains optimistic that this will improve towards the end of the year. That's good. We are working with customers for the short term to help them fulfill the demand, said Wei, adding that the company aims to double its capacity as quickly as possible. Everybody's in a hurry for that AI stuff. Liu said TSMC is working with the U.S. government to maximize the subsidies and tax credits available in the CHIPS Act to cover the first 5 years of increased premiums from fabricating in the U.S. TSMC notes that 67% of its total revenue for 2023 so far came from customers based in North America. That's a lot of money, dwarfing competing markets like China, 12%, and EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, with a combined 7%. Okay, so North America really has demand. It's little wonder that the Biden administration is trying so hard to boost domestic semiconductor manufacturing. Yeah, though the various issues delaying TSMC's Arizona-based plant are a stark reminder that bringing that chip-making capacity in-house is easier said than done. Yes, I gather it's a very complicated process, the whole business of making the chips. So just wanted to let you guys hear that story because I'm guessing you probably haven't heard it from other people. So those are all my stories for today. And like I said, it looks like Will has dipped out, which, based on his work schedule, I can understand that. Let's see, Brian. Please let Pixel use TSMC. I agree, Brian. There seems to be, I'm slowly seeing and hearing more videos of people talking that the Tensor chip is not so great. At least seems to be more people coming to that conclusion. So yeah, I think if they use TSMC, it would probably be a great idea. And no more Tensor, please. Yeah, it seems like people are starting to agree with you, Brian. So I can understand where you're coming from. So those are all the stories I had for tonight. I'm so very happy that Will came in and he's making an effort to come in. Thank you very much, Will. I hope you hear this later. And Brian donated. Brian donated at the top of the show and at the bottom of the show. You're very kind, sir. Much, much appreciated. And of course, with the Nothing Phone 2 coming and with my razor, you know your money's going to good use. So very, very much appreciated, sir. So anything else anybody has to say in the comments? Now, see, Don thinks the Tensor G2 is fine, but it seems like I'm just hearing a few people online that think Tensor is not as good as it could be. Or some people are saying Tensor 3 will be much better. So we'll see. Anyway. So Brian says, have a great weekend. Don says, hey, Brian. All right, guys. I want everybody to have a very, very blessed weekend. And everybody who's been praying for Eleanor's feet, her feet seem to be healing nicely from her surgery. And but please keep up the prayer. And that will come in, and maybe we'll get Ted back next week. So it'd be nice if we could get them both. I'm sure Mike is out making money with his deliveries. So everybody have a very blessed weekend, and let's always remember we all do better when we love each other. So see you next weekend, folks.